Worcester branch of the Wayne County Public Library. Friendship bracelets have been around for years, and while you might think of them as being something solely for teens and tweens to enjoy, I'd like to show you a couple of different bracelet designs that look stylish as well as fun. So let's get started. I'm going to show you two different varieties of friendship bracelets today, and the first one is what's known as a four-strand flat braid. Now, I have done a couple already. This one is made with embroidery floss. It's a little bit thinner than the one made with craft cord, which is a little bit like pearl cotton, I think, in size and texture. This one I haven't tied up into a bracelet yet, but you can at least see how that braid goes. Now, what I'm using is two different kinds of the craft cord. I've got 2 strands of yellow and 2 strands of red. All of these are 36 inches long. So what I'm going to do is separate the colors again. And the first thing I'm going to do is to take the red, the first color, and fold it in half, basically. So I want to get the ends even here. All right. And then I'm going to come up to the top, and we're going to create a loop here at the top by making an overhand knot. So I'm just going to wrap this around 2 fingers and then ease that loop off and tuck the end in through here. You can kind of see it's almost the beginning of a square knot. I'm just going to tighten it up so I don't have too big of a loop here at the end. All right, so that's what we've got to start with. Now what I want to do is take the other color, the 2 strands of yellow, and I'm going to thread them through this loop and pull it through so that, again, the lengths are pretty much even. Now they are going to be longer than the red because, of course, you've already made the loop of the top with the red. And that's okay. You're going to have plenty at the end for tying off, so it's not that big of a deal. All right, now the thing I have found to make this very helpful is I tape down the loop. That loop isn't going to go anywhere, and it just keeps the rest of the bracelet stable so that you can spread out the threads and be able to work with them a little bit more easily. So I'm just pulling the yellow completely out to the side, and then I'm going to separate the reds, like so. So think of it as you've got arms and legs. And what you're going to do first is with your arms, and always start on your right side, bring one arm over one leg, we're going to bring it close to the second leg too, because then the second arm, we're going to cross over the first and bring it close to the second leg. Does that make sense? So you're going from right over to left, and then left over to right. And you're always going to have that left one, that cross over the top. So after you do that, then we're switching. The red becomes the arms, the yellow the legs. And we'll do it again. And as you're working, it's going to be kind of tricky as you start but you want to keep some tension here so that your braid fits together and you don't have too much looseness. Because remember, this is how it's supposed to look. It's kind of a loose braid, but you don't have holes in between. So we'll just keep going. Okay, so I've gotten this far with the friendship bracelet, and what I'm going to do is just test to make sure this is long enough. So I'm going to lay my arm down and loop it around, and yes, that meets the loop up here, so I've definitely got enough length. So what I want to do is knot it off. I'm just going to separate these and do a quick little first half of a square knot, I think. Just to hold those in place. Then I'll take off the tape. I'm going to go ahead and pull this through, pull one end of the threads through. There might be a better way to knot this, but I'm still kind of learning what works best for each of these. I'm just going to do a square knot here. All right, and then all I have to do is trim the ends, and I have a bracelet. And I don't know if you noticed, but I do have a friend who loves Harry Potter and is House Gryffindor, and these are Gryffindor colors. So I'm thinking she's going to be really thrilled. So that's the first bracelet, the 4-strand flat braid. All right, so the next one we're going to do is the half knot twist. Now, the first one I made was with embroidery floss, and it wasn't easy to get the tension right. So you can see the knots are kind of uneven, there are gaps. It's nice, but it's not great. So then I went to using craft cord, and with this, you can see the knots in that twist much more easily. Now this one I've also added beads to, which is a fun way to embellish the bracelets. But what I'm going to show you is just this basic half twist knot. What I've got are 3 strands of the craft cord. I've done one of purple and then one of this variegated purple. Because with this bracelet, I used a variegated turquoise, and I thought it was really cool how they came out. So I've got the 3 strands, and these are long. This is 72 inches doubled up. So what we're going to do then is start once again with that overhand knot. We're going to work that knot closer to the end of the loop so we don't have too much extra here at the top. Let's see. Focus. There we go. All right. So I'm going to tape that down. I better tape it a little closer where you can see it, huh? Okay, now what I've done is, because I chose to do 2 strands of the variegated and 2 strands of the plain purple, I want to keep the plain purple on the inside. I have to try and figure out which is which. All right. And then I'm going to spread the other pairs out to the side. And this one I think is a little easier simply because these inside 2 strands don't ever move. So I'm just taping it down so it stays nice and taut, and then we're going to work around it. Pardon me for technical difficulties. Okay, so you've got your 2 strands. What you're doing is essentially the first part of a square knot, and you're just going to repeat that over and over and over. So you're going to take your right hand side and you want it to go under the center threads, pull them through till you leave sort of a loop out here, and then go over the left hand side. The left hand threads are going to go over the center under the loop. And as this gets smaller, just bit by bit, start to tighten it up. So it's snug, but it's not super tight. And then we're just going to repeat that over and over and over. So under, and over. And from the left, you're going over and through and under. And you see where that first part of a square knot comes in. And slowly tighten it up. Sometimes you might have to tug on the middle threads just to make sure they stay tight. And do it again. Under and over, over and under. And tighten it up. Under, over, over, under. And keep your threads snug as you're pulling them, not just these, but also the ones to the left and the right. Now you can see this is starting to twist a little bit. That's okay. That's what it's naturally going to do. So let's keep going. Under and over, over and under. You see how this is twisting as I'm pulling it taut? It's okay. Just go slowly. It'll unwind a little bit. You just snug that knot in. And now, since this one is pulling my left hand thread over, what I'm going to do is just flip them. So left comes over to right, right goes underneath over to left. And trust me, this does not mess up your knot work at all. We're just going to keep going. From the right, you go under, over, over, under, and tighten it up. Now you will find that you might need to flip these side threads every 4 to 6 knots or so. That's okay. Just make sure your left one goes over the top. It will naturally want to go that way. The right one needs to go back under. So you're thinking of this knot just flipping over. And let's do a few more stitches. So let's get a closer view of that. Got the middle threads taped down. You can see how the knots are twisting a little bit. And we're going to pick up where we left off with the right side under and over and under. Under, over and under. Under and over and under. This honestly to me is very relaxing, since once I get into that groove of the same stitch over and over, it's just kind of a nice little meditative sort of craft to work on. And it doesn't take you very long to see progress, which I always love. All right, now see, we're twisting again, and the left side just wants to go over the top to the right side, and the right one is just curling under the bottom to come over to the left side. So just go with that natural twist. And start all over again. Same thing, under and over and under. Okay, so I have gotten this much done in terms of the half twist knot. And what I'm going to do is lift up from the loop and work this around my wrist. And yeah, that looks like that's just about right. I think I'll do just a few more knots before I finish it off. Now, if you found that you might want to add beads to this, you can do that very easily. You see what I did on this previous bracelet. What I did was just stopping at one point, untaping the middle threads, sliding a bead up on those threads, and then doing 2 knots below that. before I added the next bead. You could do more knots in between the beads if you wanted to, but that's really all there is to it, is you're just sliding it up these middle threads. But I'm going to do a couple more knots here, and then I'll show you how I've decided I like to finish this one off. Oops, over. Can't forget how to do this, even though I'm almost done. All right, so I'm going to untape the center threads, as well as the loop. Now, I'm going to leave the sides out like this because what I'm going to do is open up the top loop a little bit. And then I'm going to take the end of these center threads and work it through. Just pretend like this is a bead. I'm going to work it on through the center thread. Close it up. I'm going to tape this thread down again because I think that's going to help. And then I'm going to do a couple more knots. So under, over, over, under, under, over, under, and under, over, under. And now I'll just trim the threads. And there's a little bit of give because of the loop to be able to fit it over your wrist. But that's how a half twist knot turns out. And you can see with the variegated yarn, it's really pretty cool how that works. You can find some other bracelet designs, some easy, some more challenging, in the book Friendship Bracelets All Grown Up, which we have here at Worcester. The instructions and diagrams are pretty straightforward, and the photos can help you imagine your next fun and fancy piece of jewelry. If you want to learn in person how to make one of these bracelets, we will have an outdoor program on Friendship Bracelets on Thursday, June 10th at 2 p.m. with details as to the location yet to be determined. We'll be socially distanced, and masks will be required even though we're outside, but I will have kits ready and talk you through the process so that you can go home with your own bracelet. Register for the program through the library calendar of events at wcpl.info. And as always, stay healthy, be kind, and get creative.